Hello and welcome to PoE Boss Guides. This time we have Uber Elder. Uber Elder is a boss fight that basically culminates both the Shaper and the Elder boss fight. And to access Uber Elder, you will need to defeat Shaper twice and Elder twice. So at least twice to get their respectable fragments, to get the Uber Elder respectable fragments, the top and bottom part, and then you can access the fight. One thing before we mention on how to get to map device, if by any chance you have killed 2 Shapers and 2 Elders and you did not obtain all 4 fragments, the top and bottom part, you can go to Horticrafting station, put apart, do fragment, and it will tell you change a fragment of terror and emptiness into other, or fragment of shape and knowledge into other. It costs 800 yellow life force, so you can change fragments like that if you do not have the other one. Keep in mind, everything is going to be changed in the window, and that's it. Now, once you have put in your fragments into the map device in the following order, you will basically enter the Shaper's Realm first. Now, when you enter the Shaper's Realm, this one is going to be a little bit different. You will enter through a portal through the Shaper's Arena, where you will see Elder basically kidnapping Shaper, and then you go straight to the Elder Arena, where you will fight both bosses at the same time. Now here is the catch. There will be some mechanics that are missing. These mechanics are as written in PoE Wiki. Elder does not use his Super Siphon, the one that basically stuns you and Shaper bonks, and the Shaper does not use his Shadow Clone or Bullet Hell attack, so that those two you do not have. However, you will see all the regular mechanics at every 25% of boss's life missing. Bosses will be able to be damaged in a sequence 1, 2, 1, 2 every 25%. So let's play through the fight. This is the start.
Exile, do something.
So you will see a bubble around one of the 2 bosses. So this here we got on the Elder, which means that boss cannot be attacked and you have to attack the other boss. The other boss does not have a bubble, the shield. And as you will see the ball mechanic, the icicles mechanic, all of them. I won't list them all individually. You will just have to watch through the fight and pay attention through that. This fight is the culmination of the mastery of your 2 fights with another Enrage mechanic, which basically is filling the floor with puddles. Those I will mention, and I have intentionally failed the encounter, well, I've intentionally died in the encounter to show you that you can actually get to a problematic situation. So in the beginning, you have the regular ball phase and icicles. That's basically it. And they can do the... Shaper can do the beam, and Elder can do the regular Siphon. So as you can see, those are the mechanics that they do in the beginning. And there will also be the black balls that spawn that will leave the puddle. Now, you saw me move it to the side. That's because these do not disappear as they do on Shaper phases. This is one phase fight, no intermissions in terms of going to a different area, so you have to be careful with that. Those are one things that spawn. Now you will see me damage Shaper a bit until basically there are the phases, and then you will see the Elder lose the shield. Shaper gains the shield. You can see it here. Elder loses the shield, which means we can now damage the Elder. Now you will also see that you cannot block some of these balls, but that's absolutely fine. This is a block character. But you will also see on the left side those propagator tentacles, whatever their name is. They will drop puddles that will not disappear if not killed. As you can see, it dropped a puddle as I didn't deal with it in time. And there's also black orb that's going to spawn. So that is your soft enrage. The more you fill the arena, the less time effectively you have to kill the boss, because those puddles deal damage over time. The mechanics will continue in their regular form, nothing else. Now, before they phase out, they tend to change their mechanics. So before they become immune, Shaper did the beam, Elder's going to do the circles, stay inside of the circle. That's basically it. Now, mechanics can overlap. This is the most difficult part of the fight. Mechanics can absolutely overlap. You can get Elder's Siphon and Shaper's beam at the same time. You can get Circle Ring, and you can get Shaper's balls, and also the black ball following you at the same time. So those can overlap. However, let's see what else we have. So that's basically when you damage Elder, and there's the first intermission phase. So Elder will stand in the middle. He will have a shield. He will pop the gates. You need to kill the adds. Adds do the same thing. They pop up the dot on the ground. Basically, they spew stuff on the ground. So you want to deal with those adds as fast as possible. That's basically it. If you have a build that deals with AoE and with adds quickly, that's going to help a lot. If you don't have a build that deals with adds quickly, as you can see here, my build is not for that. You will see a lot of puddles forming on the ground. At the other time, Shaper is just going to continue his own mechanics. Now, as you can see, the arena is getting filled with the puddles on the ground. That's basically it. And the mechanics will repeat. Plus, keep in mind, Shaper just did his bonk, and they can do the bonk as well. So just two mechanics won't appear. This is the Siphon. So this Siphon can appear into a beam. So you have to be very, very careful of that happening. Now, when you damage the Elder to 50% life, then you can do Shaper again. At 50%, however, Shaper will go into his own intermission, which is the portal with monsters. That's basically it. You know this mechanic. Just defeat the monsters and that's it. While he is in that mechanic, Elder is going to continue with his icicles and mob spawning and everything. After the Shaper is done with his mechanic and you damage the Elder down to, and you damage the Elder down to 25%, you have time to do that as well. You damage the Elder down to 25%, then the Shaper does his own thing as well. So Shaper is almost down there. Oh, he needs to be dealt to 25%. There we go. And as you can see, more puddles, more problems, more mobs, more problems. So you want to deal with that as fast as possible. That's the Siphon, balls, of course, that can appear and everything. And you will soon see the mistakes of the fight. This is also Elder's slam. So Elder starts doing the slam as well. He does the balls and then he pops up above us and then hits us. So that's basically Elder slam too. Okay. Now, when you get the Elder down, there will be, like, the later you go in the fight, the more panicky it will be. Don't worry. That's just how the mechanics are. There are the tentacles, tentacle hits, and of course, you have another intermission of Elder, which is a 25% life, where he will pop up another round of portals. These portals also, the same as the first time he does the intermission, they also have these puddles. And as you, well, the monsters with that spew puddles. And as you will shortly see, it will become very hectic very quickly, where I won't even have enough, well, area to escape, and it's just going to become panicky. How do we deal with this panic? More damage equals less time in the boss fight. That's basically it. You can do this boss fight with 500,000 to 1,000,000 damage. However, million plus more would be better. So it is recommended to do a 5 or a 6 link for this boss fight. As you can see, again, puddle and then beam. So you can see how many puddles there are, and that's how hectic it can be. So you have to do, and you have to deal with the mechanics properly. That's why I said it requires mastery of the mechanics so that you could actually deal with it. Now, at the end of the boss fight, when you defeat both bosses, basically you will see Elder basically dying, going into the sun, Shaper exploded, whatever, and there will be loot. And that's it. Now, you won't see it in this one because this isn't my first kill, but when you kill Uber Elder boss fight the first time, you will get something that's called a Voidstone. It will be a decayed Voidstone. What does this do? This can be slotted in your map atlas. It's one of the 4 that can be slotted to increase the tier of the maps on your atlas. Originally, your maps start from tier 1. However, when you put the first Voidstone, you start getting minimum tier 4 maps on the atlas, and then you upgrade them, and when you put all 4, you will only drop tier, well, not drop, you will only see on your atlas tier 16 maps. So it says this: tier 1 to 15 maps dropped in areas have 25% chance to become 1 tier higher, and tier 16 maps dropped in areas have 0.4% chance to become a tier 17 map for each socketed Voidstone. I will just briefly explain tier 17 maps. Those are maps that can only drop in tier 16 maps that have specialized fragments for bosses, for all the Uber variants. There are currently 5 types. They might add more. The principle is the same. You can drop them, you can roll them, you can play them, and then there is the Uber version of every boss fight later on. Now, one last mention is Maven. What can Maven do? Maven can make the fight a lot more difficult with her added mechanics, which can also be duplicate boss. So she can duplicate either Elder Shaper. I don't think she can duplicate both, but that can also complicate the fight. But overall, it shouldn't be a problem now that you know all the mechanics and everything. Try it out for yourself, see how it is, get your Voidstone, and that's going to be it for yet another boss guide video. So if you've liked this type of content, please do give it a like, sub if you don't mind. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video or stream. Have a good one.